It's definitely tiring. But it is the best job. And I was really anxious about where I was at in my career. Very excited, very passionate about my work. I actually cried when I said to my boss, I'm pregnant, because I was like, I don't want you to think that this will stunt my work, my progress. And it wasn't that I was crying out of excitement. It was out of nervousness. And they were like, what? Why are you like, this is an amazing thing for your life. And I think it really, it showed me that you can do it all. To your point, there's not like a equal balance. You can never give 100% on everything every single time. But I found this piece of the fact that I can continue to grow my career. And I can also balance being a great mom. And that came through the community that I've built around me to support me in my career and help watch my child when I need him, when I'm out at events like this. So I just have really found that if you want to do it, if you're passionate about what you do, and you also know that you want to be a mom, it is possible. And you'll never find 100. It's going to be hard. You will not find a balance, but you will find just overall peace and excitement in every aspect.
This is Inspiring Women, and we're at the WBL Annual Summit. I'm speaking with Emily Fry, and she is the Vice President of Innovation Operations at Geisinger. And I'm really excited to be talking to you, Emily. This is your first WBL Summit. So I want to talk to you about that, but I really want to talk about innovation. I mean, what a time in healthcare where innovation is everywhere. But thank you for being on Inspiring Women.
Thank you very much. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. All right. Well, we were having a lot of fun conversation about sort of as a young mother and what it means to be a leader, you know, being a young mother. Before we get there, you started out in physical therapy, you know, sort of like in the clinical realm as an assistant there. Then you went on doing policy, and then you moved on to healthcare administration and now innovation operations. So give us a little bit of that trajectory. What's the through line of all of those different things?
There isn't. And I think anybody that's in a role like this doesn't have just a straight path to getting there. And you have to have real diverse experience to be able to be well-rounded in this work. So, you know, I did start in like the front office working with patients, and that I loved the impact direct to patients, and then working my way through working on grants in the policy space and understanding more of a macro impact, and as well as administration. I think it just gave me different viewpoints and also allowed me, when I took on the role in innovation, to really feel like I didn't have to be the subject matter expert to everything I was doing in innovation, but I needed to be able to enable and understand what people are doing. So as I've built this career path of, you know, very different things as I've jumped through, I've been just very comfortable in change, as well as the unknown, not being the smartest one in the room, and understanding every facet of a process. And I think that's what led me to innovation, and I think how I am able to thrive in it.
Well, let's talk about innovation. I mean, that's a big word, and it's used a lot in healthcare. So how do you think about innovation?
Yeah, so innovation is really doing something fundamentally different. And I think the other part of that is solving a problem with quantifiable outcomes. So, you know, one innovation can be any flavor. There's, you know, it doesn't matter big or small. There's incremental innovation, which makes big change down the road if you chip away at a big problem. But then there's also those big bang innovations. But at the end of the day, whatever you're doing, you have to measure it. You have to make sure it's impactful, because there is so much to do in healthcare, and where do you prioritize is more important. And then you can really make some big impacts.
So where are some things that you're working on that you're excited about that you think really are going to make a difference in a quantifiable way?
Yeah, I think our movement to care at home and evolving that work, really people being comfortable with their illnesses and managing them from their home, is one piece that I'm really excited about. We think about the technology, but also the way we can redesign our care models to allow you to manage that illness at home with your family, with your friends, in an environment where you're comfortable, away from all the beeping and the noise and the interruptions that the hospital brings. And so I think that's one area that is just ripe for innovation.
And you also just, I've read about you, Emily. I've listened to some of your talks, and you talk about sort of like that consumer experience, so that patient experience, and really looking at things through their lens. So how is it impacting them? I mean, the care at home makes a lot of sense to me, that, because hospitals are noisy, they're not fun places. Nobody wants to be there.
Yeah. I mean, beyond healthcare, anything you do should be from a consumer lens when you're building something for an industry or a problem. Because if you don't, I mean, time and time again, we see it fail, or the clunkiness of whatever you're building. So first and foremost, you have to take the consumer or consumers, right? A lot of what we're building touches you as an individual patient. It may touch you as a health plan member. It touches me as a caregiver. It touches somebody as a provider lens. So you have to be able to build those consumer journeys from all angles, but do it in a way that's also rapid, which is a lot of an ad, right? Do it quickly, but do it from a broad perspective. So it's an art. There's, human experience design is a big principle to the work we do. But it's critical to being able to develop something that's meaningful.
Yeah. And then let's talk about the measurement piece, because, in terms of quantifiable results, what are you looking for? Because, a lot of times, with all of this great new technology, all of these things that are out there, people are sort of like taking credit for, various things. So it's like, did you really have an impact on that? How do you click into, where to measure, and, what is a truly good outcome because of innovation versus actually something else?
Right. Well, I think it depends, one, on what you're measuring, because we look at things from, the back office side. We look at things that do touch patients. So again, who is your consumer?
Yeah.
It really defines how you're measuring success. We look at hours saved. How do we give back to the individual and create an ease of access and use along the innovation that we're implementing? We take into account clinical outcomes, right? I talk about care at home and how we build out new care models. Well, the clinical effectiveness is first and foremost that we're making measurable movement into the care model we're building. So the flavor of outcomes measurement is really defined by the project.
Okay. Emily, I want to sort of like circle a little bit back to you. Okay. So you are clearly a passionate leader, and you're kind of on a really great leadership trajectory in terms of your career, which is really awesome to see. So first of all, when did leadership become important to you? Clearly having passion for healthcare, having passion for measurable outcomes. We're hearing that, and this, I wasn't always the smartest person in the room. Don't really believe that, but anyway, you said it. And so when did leadership become an important part of what you wanted to be and are doing?
Yeah. I don't know that I inherently owned projects or did things where I was maybe not a direct owner or a responsible party having a reporting structure, right? Like having people report to me. And I think that work, it was inherent in some of those skills are inherent. I think when people started reporting to me, I really understood that I needed to work on my leadership skills and how do I, coach individuals. And I am a middle careerist, right? I have the varying degrees of individuals I work with in their age and their culture, and I've always appreciated people's cultures. That was never an impact, but then having people reporting to me that were different ages and different backgrounds.
Yep.
Understanding and appreciating that was so important to really.
Have you had people report to you that are older than you?
Yes.
And how does that work?
It works great. I think you have to appreciate, once again, the wisdom and the work that they've done in the past to where it and how it really impacts the job that they're doing. And while you respect the wisdom that they have, also be able to provide concise and clear direction around the work that you're doing. So I want to make sure that my employees are able to feel like they can provide feedback into the project's direction and provide their own flavor of how they would go forward with something, but creating a standardized process though that allows us to measure and manage the project as well as the individual contributor's performance appropriately.
Yeah. Emily, I want to go back a little bit. So like, you're on this leadership trajectory. You've been managing people for a while. If we could just like go back to when you first started managing people, that's always a big step in a career. Who did you look to help you sort of do a good job at that? I mean, did you have mentors? Did you have coaches? How did that work for you?
Yeah. And this is not anybody that will say this, it's not anything new, but it is so important to build that foundation of different mentors and career across your career. So that's varying degrees of age, of cultural backgrounds, and of roles, right? Those disciplines allowed me to lean into my master's program teachers, the colleagues that I built, and I call them colleagues now because I truly feel and friendships that I was able to call up and unbiased somebody that's not a part of the organization or my team can really give me feedback and an approach or a problem that I'm trying to solve. So I built that throughout my graduate degree with some folks, Maureen Jones, I'll give her a shout out. And then through my career, your boss should also be in a way a mentor, and you should have that trust and build that confidence to lean into them for advice. And I was able to do that with a number of my mentors and bosses in the past. And so leaning into them and feeling like I have a relationship to trust and build my leadership within anything that I'm doing, as well as with managing people, was really important to me. So Karen Murphy was a huge impact for my career, as well as just my personal growth as a leader. Being kind first, smart second, because you will never be the smartest person in the room every single time. You may be a subject matter expert in certain circumstances, but there are times where you need to first have empathy and understand the person's background, what's happening in their life that may cause them to react or be responsive the way they are.
It's so great that you're calling out the people who were mentors to you and gave you great advice, and how you are bringing that like advice and bringing it forward. Emily, I also wanted to ask you about, being that sort of like, middle careerist, as you called it. You're also a young mother. You were talking earlier about your son, James, 13 months old. That's always a big deal and so much fun to have a young family. How has that impacted your leadership style, or how has that impacted, how you manage your career? And I don't want to talk about work-life balance, because as we were talking about, it's hard to balance all those things, but it hasn't changed you being a leader, but how has it changed sort of like how you approach work?
So I'm going to jump back quick, because Sajeev Thomas will text me if I don't give him a call out. And I think it's important to highlight not just women are your mentors, men are also your mentors. So Sajeev was a huge mentor of mine as well. And just different backgrounds, different genders also are important to have a well-rounded group of mentors. So to your question around being a new mom, the best job I've ever had. And I know it's cliche to say, but it truly is. It's definitely tiring. But it is the best job. And I was really anxious about where I was at in my career. Very excited, very passionate about my work. I actually cried when I said to my boss, I'm pregnant, because I was like, I don't want you to think that this will stunt my work, my progress. And it wasn't that I was crying out of excitement. It was out of nervousness. And they were like, what? Why are you like, this is an amazing thing for your life. And I think it really, it showed me that you can do it all. To your point, there's not like a equal balance. You can never give 100% on everything every single time. But I found this piece of the fact that I can continue to grow my career. And I can also balance being a great mom. And that came through the community that I've built around me to support me in my career and help watch my child when I need him, when I'm out at events like this. So I just have really found that if you want to do it, if you're passionate about what you do, and you also know that you want to be a mom, it is possible. And you'll never find 100. It's going to be hard. You will not find a balance, but you will find just overall peace and excitement in every aspect.
Well, that is just awesome, Emily. And one thing I will also say, and you probably already know this, is the number of other women, or family members who are looking to have families. They're probably looking to you and sort of seeing how you're keeping it all together. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Let's talk about WBL. So we're here at the annual conference. This is your first one. So welcome, welcome. And WBL is a professional network of executive level women in healthcare. And so why did you join? What are you looking forward to here?
Yeah, I mean, back to creating that network of mentors and growing and diversifying what I am able to do. WBL looked and is, now that I'm at the summit and can say through a couple months of being a part of it, a network of really strong, powerful women who have experiences either very similar or beyond what I have. And I'm hoping to tap into that network to really learn and grow.
Yeah.
I think that there is so many different experiences you run into in life, and not one person is going to be the person you can come to every single time.
Yeah.
And so this network has given me just beyond the traditional conferences too, right? I go to conferences that really are wonderful, but centralized around different types of themes. And this being really about empowering women stuck out to me.
Yep. Well, it's great to have you here as part of this important network. And I'll look forward to learning from you. So Emily, as we close out on Inspiring Women, I always love to ask senior leaders like yourself, sort of like advice that you might give other younger women who are coming along in their careers, maybe something that worked for you that might still work today, or maybe that didn't work for you that you learned from that, helped you along the way.
Yeah, I think one is feeling confident. Everybody's going to have imposter syndrome at a time in their career, and feeling confident in your gut as well as your background to drive and how you lead or how you're working a project or running a department is just hold that confidence and hold that confidence through tapping into leaders that you know and trust to be able to benchmark and ask questions to. And the other thing I would say is, continue to invest in yourself through, making sure that you are maintaining happiness. And you're never in a position where you have to be 100% happy every time. But if you run into a point where you're in your career or in your life, you're a little less happy than maybe you're at the 50% mark. You should be 80% happy all the time. If you run into that 50% mark for a month, a year, then make some changes. Like, it is on you. Take that personal accountability to make those changes. So I firmly believe in personal accountability and investing in yourself.
That is amazing. So that is really great advice. You're obviously taking it. I've been speaking with Emily Fry on this Inspiring Women conversation. Emily, thank you so much.
Thank you.
This has been an episode of Inspiring Women with Lori McGraw. Please subscribe, rate, and review. We are produced by Kate Cruz at Executive Podcast Solutions. More episodes can be found on inspiringwomen.show. I am Lori McGraw, and thank you for listening.